Welcome to my channel. If you love female-led revenge stories, Betrayed, Reborn, Overpowered, subscribe. I upload these regularly.
They locked the doors and left us to die. I heard the hiss of the seal before I saw them run. Jason grabbed Isabel's wrist and sprinted. She looked back just once. Crying, lying, beautiful. She's infected. That was her last gift to me. Behind me, Isaac was choking on blood. I turned. His back slid down the console, leaving a dark smear behind him. The upload bar pulsed on the screen, 23%. The lab lights flickered. The alarm screamed like something alive. I dropped to my knees beside him. "Isaac, don't," he said. "Don't look like that." Blood slipped from the corner of his mouth. He wiped it away, the same way he did when he was 12 and trying not to scare me. "You already did enough, sis." Shook my head. No, I didn't." "Yes," he said, firmer than his body should allow. "You did." The glass wall behind us cracked. Something slammed against it. Once. Twice. His breathing rattled. His thumb brushed my wrist. So light, I almost missed it. "You were my parent," he whispered. "Not just my sister." The wall buckled. Metal screamed. The infected poured through. He smiled, not brave, not proud, just gentle, like he was trying to comfort me. "It's okay," he said. Then his hand went slack. I don't remember screaming. I remember standing. The first bite tore into my shoulder, the second into my neck. Pain didn't bloom. It collapsed. Every memory hit at once. Late-night tutoring. Insurance forms filled out with shaking hands when our parents died. My body broke. Then it refused to stay broken. Heat exploded through my veins. Blood rushed backward, not out. The floor pulsed. The air bent. The infected froze. They looked at me and stepped back. I rose through the pain, through the blood, through the wreckage of the girl I was. The world burned, and just as I lifted my hand to end everything, I woke up, gasping, sweating, alive. Morning light spilled through the curtains. The ceiling crack was still there. A bird chirped. My phone vibrated on the knitstand. Monday. 6 a.m. from the kitchen. A voice called out sleepy. Familiar. "Freya? You up?" "Isaac." "Alive." My hands shook. This wasn't mercy. This was a warning. And this time, I would not let my little brother die. "Freya?" His voice. Alive, warm, not choking, not gone. I swallowed hard. "Yeah," I called back, steady. He was already in the kitchen by the time I entered. Barefoot. Hoodie too big. Hair a mess. He stirred cereal with the spoon like it owed him money. "Isaac." He looked up and smiled like nothing was wrong. Because for him, nothing was. "You look like you didn't sleep," he said. "I didn't." "Nightmare?" I shrugged. "Just tired." I moved past him, brushing the edge of the table with my fingers. Subtle. Reassuring myself he was real. He hummed something off-key while he ate. A sound so ordinary, it made my chest ache. I stood still until it passed. He kept talking. Something about a viral mutation paper. Some researcher he wanted to email. A dataset he was pulling. I didn't answer much. Didn't trust my voice to stay steady. I made tea. Too hot. No sugar, let it burn my throat. His mug sat untouched. As always. He forgot about it when he started talking science. Some things never changed. Until they did. Later, I locked the bathroom door. Rolled up my sleeve. The scar was still there. Teeth marks. Faded but wrong. I shouldn't have them. Not here. Not now, but I did. My fingers brushed the skin. No pain, just warmth. like a memory that never died. At noon, I sat on the couch and scrolled through old texts. Jason's name popped up first. Jason, 11:17 a.m. Miss you. Dinner soon? It's been forever. Love you. My thumb hovered over the reply button. I didn't feel anger. Didn't feel hurt. Just emptiness. That scared me more than rage ever had. That afternoon, I found Isaac asleep on the couch. Laptop open. Graphs glowing. Half a sandwich on a plate. He was curled up. Mouth slightly open. Breathing soft and steady. I knelt beside him. He didn't know. He had no idea what was coming. What he'd already lived through once. What I'd seen kill him. I closed the laptop gently. He didn't stir. In the kitchen, I unpacked the sample kit. Opened the sealed syringe. Clean. Precise. I drew blood from my arm. No hesitation. No flinch. Dark red filled the vial. It didn't bubble, didn't glow. But I remembered what it did when I died. What it became. At 2 a.m., I walked to the storage unit. Cold air bit at my cheeks. The city slept. Blind to the countdown ticking beneath it. I keyed in the code. The door creaked open. Inside. A cooler, dusted trauma gear, emergency rations long expired. I placed the vial inside, wrapped in cloth. Tomorrow I'd hand it to Isaac. Let him test it. Let him see for himself. Then I'd tell him everything. Not all at once. But enough. Back home, I paused outside his door. I could hear his breathing. Slow. Peaceful. I touched the wood. Soft. Barely a second. Then I walked away. This time I wouldn't lie to him. Not when the world was about to end. Not again. The next morning, I handed my blood to Isaac. He stared at the vial like it might whisper a secret. Turned it in his fingers, watching it catch the light like it was more than blood. Like it might burn, or answer back. Okay, he said quietly. Let's see what we're dealing with. He didn't ask why I had blood drawn. Didn't question the urgency in my voice when I gave it to him. Just nodded. Trusted me. Like he always had. The lab setup in his room looked like something out of a university basement. Half real equipment. Half cobbled together prototypes. His desk was cluttered with notes, spare pipettes, energy drink cans, and old mugs. He moved fast. Focused. Brilliant. He didn't know it. But I used to watch him like this from the doorway when he was 16. Just to feel proud. Just to remember why I kept going. He inserted the sample under the microscope, adjusting the lens with precise fingers. Then he froze. Okay, he muttered. That's not right. I didn't say anything. I watched his face. Brows pinched. Eyes narrowing. Then widening. He ran the sequence again. Changed slides. Scanned old baselines. Your white cells are absorbing the virus model. Not fighting it. Not blocking it. Absorbing it. His voice lowered. Like they recognize it. I stayed silent. His hands were shaking now. He took another sample, ran it under infrared. Lines bloomed like heat signatures. These structures, Freya, this shouldn't exist. This is advanced mutation, but it's integrated. He looked up at me, eyes full of questions, fear. You're not immune. You're part of it. I nodded once, then sat on the edge of his bed. Sit, I said. He did. I held his gaze. You're going to listen, and you're not going to interrupt. He nodded again. Slower this time. I took a breath, and dropped the match. You died, I said. He didn't flinch. In another timeline. In another ending. You died in a lab. bleeding from the throat, trying to upload your cure while they left us behind. Who? He questioned. Jason, Isabel. His mouth opened, then closed. I went on. They locked us in. She told them I was infected. He believed her. Chose her. The words didn't tremble. I watched the horde rip through the glass. I held you while your pulse stopped. He stared at me. No denial, no scoffing, just quiet horror. I died too. But I didn't stay dead. I leaned forward. My body came back. Changed. I stood up and the infected stepped back. A long silence. His voice was hoarse when he spoke. How? I don't know. But the virus didn't kill me. It answered to me. Another silence. Then, and now you're here. I woke up in my bed. 1 week before the outbreak. Only I remember. Just me. He leaned back in his chair. Hands over his mouth. Eyes unfocused. I waited. Waited for the panic. The denial, but it never came. Instead, you raised me. He said it so softly I almost missed it. You've never lied to me. Not once. Not about the hard stuff. He looked up again. So I believe you. Something in my chest cracked. I didn't let it show. I need you to keep working. Quietly. Start the synthesis now. When the outbreak hits, they'll come for you. Who's they? The same people who ignored your emails. The same ones who'll want your blood once they realize you're the only one who saw this coming. I stood. We'll move in 3 days. I already have a place. He was still staring at the vial. Is this what brought you back? I think so. Does it hurt? Not yet, he nodded. Then, finally, he looked scared. Frey, if this thing changed you, how do you know it won't take over completely? I didn't answer right away. Then I said, because I still know who I am. He didn't speak again for the rest of the night, but he left the door open when he went to bed, like he did when he was little. 3 days later, the world started dying. It didn't scream at first. It coughed. A fever spike in Sector 5. A hospital lockdown in the city core. Then 2 officers torn apart by a patient who couldn't feel pain. The media blamed bath salts. The government told everyone to stay calm. But I'd seen this play before. Knew the second act by heart. I moved Isaac out of the apartment that night. Didn't ask, didn't explain. We packed light. Just blood samples, hard drives, food, and 2 knives. He didn't fight me. The safe house was a dead Airbnb 6 miles out, shielded by farmland and bad Wi-Fi. I changed the locks, boarded the windows, cut the power. We slept in shifts. Every cough in the distance felt too close. On the 4th day, Jason called. Jason, 11:22 a.m. Where are you? Something's happening in the city. Please call me. I'm worried. Worried. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Then I texted back. I know a place. Bring Isabel. I'll explain everything when you get here. The lab was in a half-collapsed research wing I'd worked in years ago. Off-grid. Forgotten. Still had backup power. I lured them there like rats to a trap. I needed to see it. Needed to know if they'd make the same choice. If betrayal was habit or instinct. They arrived just before dark. Jason's shirt was untucked. His eyes darted like he couldn't sit still. Isabel clung to his arm like it was for show. I met them outside. You okay? Jason asked, stepping forward. What's going on? I looked him over once. Didn't answer. Isabel's eyes were wide. Lip bitten, like she practiced it in the mirror. I'm scared, Freya. Are we safe here? She was already lying. I turned. This way. Inside, the lab looked clean, sterile, humming, cold. I guided them into the back chamber. The door locks automatically, I said. Part of containment protocol. Jason hesitated. Containment? From what? I smiled. You'll see. The door sealed behind them with a hiss. I watched from the observation window. The infected man I'd found 2 days ago was strapped in the center of the chamber. Early stage. Contained. Breathing hard. Jason froze. Isabel backed into the wall. What is this? She shrieked. I pressed the mic. This is what you left me with. Jason spun to face the glass. Freya, what are you talking about? In the last ending, you locked us in a lab. You left my brother to die. Isabel stepped forward, all tears and wide eyes. I never. What are you saying? You said I was infected, and he believed you. Their faces blurred. Same fear. Same lies. I need to know, I said. If you do it again. I watched them scream and pound on the door. Watched Jason push Isabel in front of him when the infected man lurched against the straps. Watched her shriek. Take him, not me. No hesitation. Same choice. Same betrayal. I turned away before it was over. I wasn't a killer. Not yet. I made it 4 blocks before I was jumped. 3 infected. Fast. Quiet. Wrong. One grabbed my arm. I twisted away. Another tackled me from the side. Teeth snapping toward my neck. I stabbed. Missed. The knife slipped from my hand. The third bit my shoulder. Hard. I felt it tear. The world tilted. Blood rushing from my head to the pavement. I hit the ground. Darkness folded in. Then, heat. Not outside. Inside. Every vein lit up. Every cell screamed. The bite mark boiled. Something beneath my skin woke up. Like it had just been waiting. I gasped. Sat up. My pulse roared. The infected stood over me, confused. Then afraid. They stepped back. I stood. Felt nothing. No fear. No pain. Only the hunger of something alive in my blood. I picked up the knife and made sure they didn't stand back up again. By the time I got home, my hands were clean but shaking. Isaac was waiting by the door. His eyes dropped to the torn fabric on my sleeve. The red beneath it. You were bitten, he said flatly. I died. I walked past him. Dropped the knife in the sink. Did it hurt? Only the first time. He didn't speak for a while. Then, it brought you back again. Yes, I blinked. Then nodded. And for the first time in this timeline, I let myself feel it. The weight, the fear, the love that hurt worse than any bite. The first time I saw Harrison, he had a rifle aimed at my head. I didn't flinch. I just opened the door. Behind him, 2 soldiers in dusty tactical gear swept the porch with steady movements. Fast, trained, silent. Harrison didn't lower his weapon. Isaac Ward, he said. Where is he? Inside, I answered. His eyes flicked past me. Alive? For now. That made him pause. Isaac appeared behind me, barefoot, holding a data tablet. I'm here, he said. She's with me. Harrison's grip loosened. Slightly. I stepped aside. Come in if you want, but wipe your boots. I just cleaned the floor. They entered like they expected an ambush. Every shadow got a glance. Every creak earned a twitch of the trigger. I let them look. Let them see the boarded windows, the stockpile of rations, the silent generator. Let them pass the corpses by the barn. 2 infected, throats torn open. Not a bullet in sight. One of the soldiers whispered, "What did that?" I answered without turning. I did. They went quiet after that. Harrison stepped into the kitchen, removed his gloves. Not his sidearm. You're Freya. Still am. He studied me like a blueprint. Not a woman. Not a threat. Just something to solve. What are you to him? I folded my arms. His sister, legal guardian. Reason he's still breathing. He looked at Isaac. You vouch for her? Isaac nodded. She's the only reason I'm alive. That bought me 1 inch of trust. Harrison turned to me again. You're not on the list. Good. I don't like unknown variables. Then walk away. He didn't. They ran field diagnostics. Verified Isaac's identity. Confirmed his research credentials. Then Harrison gave the order. Extraction in 48 hours. You both come with us. I laughed. He didn't. I don't take orders, I said. I don't give second chances. We stared each other down. He blinked first. That night, I stood outside with a knife in my hand, watching the field. Harrison joined me. No armor. No rifle. Just a half-empty flask. He offered it. I didn't take it. You didn't ask how we found you, he said. I figured you'd tell me if I should care. He took a slow sip. You triggered a flag. Off-grid file access. Old antiviral threads. So you came for him. He nodded. He's the key. You're the wild card. I let the silence answer that for him. Your brother's important, he said finally. What happens if you lose control? I turned to him. When I lose control, I said, you won't be alive to see it. He didn't back down. But he didn't speak again either. That was enough. Later, I found Isaac half asleep at the kitchen table. Eyes rimmed red. A half-finished sequence still blinking on the screen. He looked up. Was that guy your type? I blinked. What? You looked at him like you were going to kill him or marry him. I poured tea. Same thing. Harrison found them on the second day. I knew before he said a word. The shift in his stance. The slight tension in his jaw. The way his men kept glancing at the back of the truck like it carried a bomb. I stepped into the barn as they hauled the wounded in. And there they were. Jason. Isabel. Covered in dirt and blood. Eyes wild. Voices hoarse. Alive. Freya? Isabel whispered. Voice soft. Perfectly rehearsed. Jason lifted his head from the stretcher. You're okay, he croaked. Thank God. I looked at Harrison. You picked up trash. He didn't smile. They were barely alive. Found them locked in an old research unit. The door was half burned through. So they escaped the infected I left them with. Somehow. Of course they did. Isabel reached out like we were still friends. We didn't know where you went. We tried to find you. I said nothing. Jason sat up, wincing. We thought you were dead. I tilted my head. Again? He flinched. No one else noticed, but I did. Later, I watched through the hallway mirror as Isabel sat with Harrison's men. Smiling. Laughing softly. Wearing bandages like a badge of survival. They didn't see the predator under the powder. Didn't hear the manipulation tucked between the sobs. She saved me, she whispered to one of them. Freya just left us. He offered her water. She smiled like it was romantic. Jason stayed quiet. Too quiet. He kept to the shadows. Took painkillers without permission. Refused medical checks. I caught him in the washroom, holding his side like something inside him was trying to crawl out. I didn't say a word. He looked up, eyes glassy. Don't tell them, he whispered. I said nothing. He smiled. It cracked halfway through. Isaac asked me if I believed they'd changed. No, I said. Then why are they still breathing? I looked out the window. Because rot smells better alive. At dusk, Harrison approached me. They're talking, he said. Of course they are. They're saying you left them behind. That you locked them in with the infected. I didn't deny it. He studied me. Calm. Measured. You going to kill them? I didn't answer. I need to know what side of the line you stand on. I turned to him. Let him see it in my eyes. There's no line, Harrison. Just timing. Jason was sweating through his shirt. He sat hunched on the cot, one hand pressed tight against his ribs. His breathing rasped. Shallow. Wet. The others thought it was an old injury. I knew better. I watched from the doorway as Isabel knelt beside him. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Too quiet for anyone else. Stop groaning, you're making them suspicious. He shook. It hurts. She leaned closer. Then die faster. I stepped into the room. She spun. Too fast. Freya, she said, smile flickering on like a stage light. He just needs rest. Jason looked up at me, eyes bloodshot, mouth trembling. His lips moved. Help me. But he didn't say it out loud. Cowardice still choking his throat. That night, I found Isabel near the perimeter radio. Alone. Digging through encrypted channels. When she realized I was behind her, she didn't panic. She just turned slowly and said, They want Isaac. She held up her hands. I wasn't going to give him away. I just wanted to know our options. You're not thinking clearly anymore, Freya. You're not stable. This mutation, whatever it is, it's changing you. I stepped forward. She stepped back. I'm the only one trying to keep you human, she said. Wrong. That was Isaac, and I was already past saving. The alarm went off at dawn. Jason had turned. He didn't scream, didn't thrash. He just opened his eyes, and they weren't his anymore. One of Harrison's men died before anyone could stop it. Blood sprayed the wall. The others hesitated. I didn't. I pinned him in the mud, one hand on his throat. He was strong, wild, mindless. And then, for a split second, he looked at me. Frey, whispered, choked. I drove the knife in. Deep. Final. He stopped moving. Isabel ran. Got 2 miles into the woods before we caught her. She screamed when they dragged her back. Begged when they tied her wrists. Said she didn't mean it. Said it was Jason's fault. Said she loved Isaac like a brother. I stood in front of her, eyes dry. I gave you a second chance, she sobbed. I know. You used it to sell him. She shook her head. I raised the pistol. She flinched. Please, just tell me why. I tilted my head. You would have done it again. Then I pulled the trigger. Later, Harrison sat beside me by the fire. No words, just silence. Then finally, do you feel better? No. You regret it? No. He nodded. That was all. Isaac didn't ask what happened. He just hugged me that night and didn't let go. They stopped looking me in the eye. The others, Harrison's men, the new survivors, even the med techs Isaac was training. They nodded, said, Ma'am, like I was some kind of rank, but their shoulders tensed when I walked by. One girl dropped her tray when our hands almost touched. Another whispered something about death eyes and crossed herself. I didn't correct them. Let them believe I was a ghost. Sometimes I felt like one. I didn't sleep anymore. Not out of fear. Not out of trauma. Just couldn't. I'd lie down and my body would hum like a machine left running. Eyes closed, heart still, but always listening. Sometimes I heard things. Not words, just pulses. Like breathing that wasn't mine. The infected didn't come near the camp anymore. Didn't groan or claw or scream. They watched. From the tree line. From the burned ruins. From places they shouldn't remember how to hide. But they did. And they waited. Harrison brought it up over rations. People are scared of you. I didn't look up from my coffee. Good. He exhaled through his nose. Scared people make bad choices. Then teach them better ones. He didn't answer. Isaac did. He confronted me in the medical tent. There's something wrong with your blood, he said. Beyond immunity. I leaned against the wall. We've been over this. No, we haven't. He slammed the tablet down. It's changing again. It's spreading. It's not just rejecting infection. It's adapting to dominate it. He looked at me like he was seeing someone else. If I didn't know you, I'd call it parasitic. I didn't flinch. But I do know you, he said, quieter now. I know you. And I know that whatever's inside you, it's not stronger than you. I turned to leave. He grabbed my wrist. Don't disappear, he whispered. Not from me. I paused, then nodded once. That was all I could give him. That night, Harrison handed me a flare and asked me to walk the fence line. Just you? He said. Just me. I stepped into the woods alone. 30 seconds in, I felt them. Eyes. Movement. That subtle shift in the air. Like the moment before a thunderclap. I stopped walking. They stood between the trees. Not attacking. Not moving. Just watching. Waiting. One of them, taller than the rest, took a step forward. Its face was torn. Jaw cracked sideways. But it didn't snarl. It bowed. I didn't breathe. Didn't blink. I lifted the flare. Lit it. And turned my back on them. When I came back, the path behind me was clear. Harrison waited by the gate. Well? He asked. They're gone. Just like that? I looked him in the eye. Let him see it. They're not afraid of the cure, I said. He frowned. What are they afraid of? I turned toward the camp. Toward Isaac's sleeping form inside the tent. They're afraid of what I'll do if someone touches him. The warning shot hit the dirt 5 feet from Harrison's boot. He didn't flinch, just raised a hand, slow and silent. Behind him, I stepped out of the shadows. 12 figures stood at the tree line. Ex-military, raiders, survivors who'd stopped pretending to be human long ago. Their leader wore a gas mask and a sheriff's badge. Hand over the scientist, he said. Voice flat through the filter. We heard you've got the one with the cure. Harrison stepped forward. You can leave. Or you can bleed. The man tilted his head. Neither. I think we'll take the boy, the lab, and whatever the hell's keeping your infected away. He looked at me. And her. Especially her. I didn't blink. 10 minutes later, we were in the war tent. Isaac sat beside me, face pale. I can go, he said quietly. I'll give them the files. It's not worth. No, I said. Harrison leaned on the table, jaw tight. They outnumber us. Better weapons. Better cover. I can evac your brother and the files. But if you stay ... double quotes. I'm staying. His eyes met mine. Tension carved between us like wire. Freya. I said I'm staying. Silence. Then Harrison nodded once. Then I'm staying too. That night, I stood alone at the fence line again. Only this time, I wasn't watching the infected. I was waiting for the living. They came just before dawn. Silent. Fast. Surgical. Until they hit the perimeter and everything changed. The air snapped. The infected came out of the trees, not wild, not howling. Marching. Controlled. One of the raiders screamed before I touched him. The others didn't get the chance. I moved through them like shadow. Like flame. They shot at me. Bullets tore my coat. Didn't slow me. I reached one of them. Grabbed his throat. He tried to scream. I crushed it. Another dropped his weapon. Ran. I didn't chase him. The infected did. By the time the sun rose, the dirt was slick with blood. I stood in the center of it. Not panting, not proud, just still. My boots steamed. My hands dripped. And every survivor watched me in silence. Later, Isaac found me washing my arms in the stream. His voice shook. "I saw what you did." I didn't answer. He sat beside me, pulled his knees to his chest. I finished the sequence. That got my attention. He held up a flash drive. "This is it, the cure. It works. But it needs your blood to synthesize." I stared at the water. "Will it take it away?" He nodded. "The regeneration, the control, everything." I looked at my hands. Scarred. Burned. Red. "Will I still be able to protect you?" His voice cracked. "You don't need to be a monster to protect me." I looked up. He was crying, trying not to. So was I. The vial was warm in my hand. Not from heat. From memory. Isaac had placed it in my palm like it was glass fragile, final. Like he didn't know if I'd give it back. I stared at it under the pale blue light of the infirmary. One small dose. Just enough to undo what the virus had made me. Enough to bleed like everyone else. Harrison stood near the door. He wasn't watching me. Just standing, waiting. The way soldiers do when the order might come. He didn't say anything. He never had to. He knew what this meant. He'd seen what I'd done. The field. The bodies. The ones I didn't spare. And yet, he stayed. I turned the vial over between my fingers. Thin liquid. Faint shimmer. Isaac said it would work. That it would stabilize me. Strip the viral dominance out of my blood. Bring me back. Not fully human, but close enough to sleep again. To feel. To age. To die. I thought of the infected in the woods. How they still watched from the dark. Waiting. If I took this, they wouldn't fear me anymore. I thought of the girl I used to be. How she was crushed in a lab. Surrounded by the dead. Holding her brother's final breath in her arms. That girl never got her ending. But maybe I could. I looked up at Isaac. He wasn't begging. He was simply there. Soft eyes. Shaking shoulders. Too tired to hope. Too stubborn to give up. He didn't say please. He just said, "Stay with me this time." I uncapped the vial. Swallowed it in one pull. The change wasn't loud. No seizing. No screaming. Just weight. Heavy, sudden. Like something in me had been holding my body together from the inside, and now let go. I sank to my knees. The world dimmed. I felt cold. Not temperature. Just absence. No pulse roaring in my ears. No surge of heat behind my eyes. Just silence. And breath. Shallow. Mortal mine. When I woke, Isaac was beside me. His head resting on folded arms. Sleep. Harrison sat near the wall, arms crossed. Silent. I moved my fingers. They hurt. That made me smile. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, my hands ached. I sat up. Slow. Alive. That night the camp was quiet. The infected were gone. The trees stood still. And I finally slept. The world didn't fix itself. It just stopped falling apart. The infected still roamed the dead zones. Supply lines still broke. People still died for stupid reasons. But the camps were holding. The cure was spreading. And Isaac, he laughed again. Not as much, but real. That was enough. He took over the lab at Outpost 6. Taught survivors how to make and distribute doses. Carried a clipboard like it weighed more than a rifle. They called him Dr. Ward now. I still called him Kid. He hated it. He smiled every time. Harrison didn't leave either. He could have taken a transport east, or joined a stronger faction, or just disappeared like so many good men do when they're too tired to keep fighting. But he stayed. Said it was because Isaac still needed protection. But when the nights got quiet, and the lights dimmed, and no one else was awake, he always sat 2 steps behind me. Never too close. Never far. He didn't try to save me. He just didn't run. I wasn't what I used to be. No more red vision. No more silence under my skin. I bled now. I bruised. I lost fights again. Felt fear again. But when a child screamed during an outbreak drill, I was the first one they ran to. Not because I was strong. Because I stayed. Last night, Isaac set up a projector in the yard. Salvaged some old sci-fi flick. Black and white. Full of aliens and fake sparks. I sat on one side of the blanket. Harrison on the other. Isaac fell asleep halfway through. He leaned against my shoulder. I didn't move. When the film ended, and the stars above blinked through torn clouds, I whispered, not loud. Not meant for them. Just for me. This time I stayed. And that was enough.